February 14th revolves around candy and cards for many. There's actually so much more to Valentine's Day than you might realize. The holiday we observe has a pretty fascinating history, and we've got 50 unusual facts about Valentine's Day. 1. Valentine's Day started with the Romans. There are two theories about the origin of Valentine's Day. Some believe the day derives from Lupercalia, a raucous Roman festival on February 15th where men stripped naked and spanked young maidens in the hopes of increasing their fertility. The second theory is that while the Roman Emperor Claudius II was trying to bolster his army, he forbade young men to marry. In the spirit of love, Saint Valentine defied the ban and performed secret marriages, and for his disobedience, Valentine was executed on February 14th around the year 270 AD. 2. Valentine's Day was first declared a holiday by a pope. In 496 AD, Pope Gelasius I made the feast of Saint Valentine an official holiday, apparently hoping to expel the pagan rituals of Lupercalia by combining it with Saint Valentine's Day. 3. The holiday was later removed from the Roman calendar of saints. After the Second Vatican Council in 1969, Pope Paul VI decided to remove Saint Valentine's Day from the calendar of major holidays, mostly because very little about the actual Saint Valentine could be verified. However, its religious observance is still allowed. Anglicans and Lutherans recognize February 14th as an official feast day, while the Eastern Orthodox Church celebrates Saint Valentine on July 6. 4. The first Valentine's Day celebration occurred in Paris. The first known official celebration of Saint Valentine's Day took place in Paris on February 14, 1400, which is when King Charles VI of France established La Cour Amoureuse, or the High Court of Love. The court, entirely run by women, met to deal with marriage contracts, divorces, infidelity, and domestic violence. 5. Passing out Valentines is a 600-year-old tradition. The oldest record of a Valentine is a poem Charles, the Duke of Orleans, wrote to his wife when he was imprisoned in the Tower of London in 1415, in which he refers to his wife as his Valentine. 6. Today, millions of greeting cards are purchased every year. Every year for Valentine's Day, an estimated 145 million greeting cards are exchanged in the US alone, according to Hallmark, making it the second largest holiday for greeting cards after Christmas. 7. Esther Howland is the first manufacturer of Valentines. Before Esther Howland commercialized Valentine's Day cards and became known as the mother of the American Valentine, Valentines in America were less romantic and more comical. Her inspiration came from the thoughtful and sweet greeting cards that were circulating in England, and she decided to sell similar designs in the US starting in the 1870s. 8. You could once buy booklets devoted to writing Valentine's Day cards. Around the turn of the 19th century, those who struggled to come up with their own Valentine's messages could purchase Valentine Writers, which were 6-penny pamphlets containing popular collections of pre-written love messages to be used as inspiration. 9. An infamous king made Valentine's Day an official holiday. In 1537, England's King Henry VIII officially declared February 14th the holiday of St. Valentine's Day by royal charter. And yes, he is the monarch who had 6 wives, 1 who died, 1 who survived, 2 who he divorced, and 2 who he beheaded. 10. Vinegar Valentines were used to deter suitors in Victorian England. During the Victorian era and into the 20th century, those who didn't want the attention of certain suitors would anonymously send vinegar valentines or penny dreadfuls, which would range from sassy to cruel and could be purchased to insult just about anyone in your life. 11. English women believed bay leaves to bring good luck on Valentine's Day. Vinegar valentines aren't the only strange Valentine's Day tradition from England. In the 1700s, rural English women would pin 5 bay leaves to their pillows, 1 in the center and 4 on the corners, on the night of February 13th in order to have sweet dreams about their future husbands. 12. Candy hearts were originally medical lozenges. In 1847, Boston pharmacist Oliver Chase invented a machine that simplified the lozenge production process, resulting in the first candy-making machine. After identifying an opportunity to revolutionize the candy business, Chase shifted his focus to candy production with Necco wafers. 13. The candies got their iconic shape much later. It wasn't until 15 years after the creation of Necco wafers that Daniel Chase's brother, Oliver Chase, developed a way to press words onto the candy lozenges with a felt roller pad and vegetable food coloring. It took an additional 40 years for the conversational candies to become officially heart-shaped. 14. Candy hearts weren't available in 2019. In 2018, Necco declared bankruptcy, forcing the company to close its original plant and sell off its candy brands. Spangler Candy Company ended up acquiring the rights to Sweethearts, and after setting up production in a new plant, Sweethearts returned to shelves in 2020, but not without a few changes due to equipment problems. Luckily, by 2021, Spangler had worked out the kinks. 15. February 14th is a busy day for restaurants. Unsurprisingly, Valentine's Day is one of the busiest days of the year for restaurants, second only to Mother's Day. 16. Wearing your heart on your sleeve is more than just a phrase. In the Middle Ages, young men and women drew names to see who their Valentine would be, and they would wear the name pinned to their sleeve for 1 week so that everyone would know their supposed true feelings. 17. Cupid's bow and arrow weren't just for show. In Roman mythology, Cupid is the son of Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, and he's often depicted with a bow and arrows to pierce hearts and cast a spell of love. 18. People consider pink and red the colors of love. According to the National Confectioners Association, around 65% of Americans believe that the packaging of Valentine's Day candies and chocolates should be red and pink. 19. The heart shape wasn't always a romantic symbol. The heart was once widely believed to be human center of memory, where feelings of love were recorded. However, we have French and Italian artists from the 14th century to thank for the symbol that we know and love today, as they were the first ones to start using this motif in their work. 20. Valentine's Day wasn't always a romantic holiday. February 14th wasn't associated with romantic love until the late 14th century, which is when Geoffrey Chaucer published his poem, The Parliament of Fowls. In the poem, he calls St. Valentine's Day the day when birds choose their mates, and from then on, people started considering the holiday a romantic one. 21. Roses are the flowers of love. Speaking of Cupid and his roses, can you guess the favorite flower of Venus, the Roman goddess? According to legend, it's the red rose, of course. The bud stands for strong romantic feelings, so it's no surprise that roses make up the most popular Valentine's Day bouquets. 22. Americans spend a lot on love. According to a survey by the National Retail Federation, Americans spent $23.9 billion on Valentine's Day in 2022, the second highest year on record. The record for spending was set in 2020, with $27.4 billion spent on the holiday. 23. Men and women prefer candy to flowers. Both men and women prefer to receive chocolate over flowers, according to the National Confectioners Association. The survey also found that chocolate sales represent 75% or more of Valentine's Day candy purchases. 22. Valentine's Day is a popular holiday to get engaged. This seems fitting. A 2017 study by diamond retailer James Allen found that 43% of millennials chose Valentine's Day as their ideal day to propose or to accept a proposal. 25. The chocolate box has been around for more than 140 years. In addition to creating arguably the richest, creamiest, and sweetest chocolate on the market, Richard Cadbury also introduced the first box of Valentine's Day chocolates in 1868. 26. And there's a standout favorite in every box. According to the National Confectioners Association, caramels are the most popular flavor in chocolate boxes, followed by chocolate-covered nuts, chocolate-filled, cream-filled, and coconut. 27. Experiential gifts are on the rise. In 2017, 40% of consumers told the National Retail Federation they wanted an experience gift, aka tickets to a concert or other event, an outdoor activity, or an evening out, although only 24% planned to give one. This gift option is particularly popular with millennials. 45% of people ages 18 to 24 and 40% of people ages 25 to 34 said they planned to give experiences for Valentine's Day. 28. More Americans skip Valentine's Day than you realize. Whether it's because they're single or think the holiday is beyond cheesy, 49% of adults surveyed by the National Retail Federation in 2019 said they're not celebrating the day of love, though they may treat themselves to a small gift or a night out with friends and family. 29. It's not just for humans. People really do love their pets, because according to the National Retail Federation, 27% of people celebrating Valentine's Day in 2020 said they were also buying gifts for their pets, which is up from 17% in 2010. 30. Your chocolates probably come from the West Coast. California is the state with the largest number of chocolate makers, which means those heart-shaped goodie boxes you're gifting your loved one this Valentine's Day probably came from the West Coast. The state has 141 chocolate makers, according to the U.S. Census. Pennsylvania comes in second, with 115 chocolate artisans. 31. Most Valentine's Day roses are imported. California also produces 60% of American roses, but interestingly enough, the vast number of roses sold on Valentine's Day in the US are imported, mostly from Colombia. 32. Galentine's Day has become a beloved spin-off holiday. Galentine's Day may have originally been a holiday made up by geniuses behind the hit TV show Parks and Recreation, but that doesn't mean it's not totally real. According to the National Retail Federation, Valentine's Day gifts for friends accounted for 7% of the total spending for 2020. 33. Roses really are king of Valentine's Day florals. Roses are iconically linked to Valentine's Day, and it's not just a stereotype. According to Teleflora, roses account for nearly half of all Valentine's Day flower sales. 34. Valentine's Day is the biggest holiday for florists. According to the Society of American Florists, Valentine's Day accounts for 30% of all holiday flower purchases, beating out Christmas, Mother's Day, and Thanksgiving. 35. A king from Sweden started the tradition of sending flowers. The tradition was brought back to Europe by King Charles II of Sweden after a trip to Persia in the early 1700s, with the idea of sending flowers as a non-verbal message. 36. Women are more likely to treat themselves than men on Valentine's Day. 16% of flowers purchased by women on Valentine's Day are going to none other than themselves, according to the Society of American Florists, so you're absolutely not alone when you treat yourself to a floral arrangement. 37. Teachers are the #1 recipient of Valentine's. And honestly, who else is more deserving? Oftentimes classrooms in elementary schools do fun Valentine exchanges to celebrate the holiday, which means that teachers often receive a sweet note from each of their students, making them the group of people who receive the most Valentines. 38. In Japan, women do most of the gifting on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, or kokuhaku, was first introduced to Japan in 1936 and has since become wildly popular. However, due to a translation error made by a chocolate company, only women buy chocolate and gifts for their sweethearts on February 14th. But don't worry, women get their turn to get spoiled. On March 14th, Japan celebrates White Day, which is when men buy gifts for their partners. 39. Some Nordic countries celebrate friendship on February 14th. Like Japan, Finland and Estonia also recognize Valentine's Day, and they also do things a little differently. Known as Ystävänpäivä in Finland and Sobripäivä in Estonia, both countries use the holiday as a friendship day or Day of the Friends, where they exchange cards and gifts not only with lovers, but with friends and family members as well. 40. Filipinos have the most unique Valentine's Day tradition. In the Philippines, February 14th happens to be the most common wedding anniversary. Over the past decade, mass Valentine's Day marriages have become increasingly popular there, where hundreds of couples say I do at the same time. 41. For Ghana, the day is all about chocolate. Other countries that celebrate Valentine's Day include Argentina, France, South Korea, Bulgaria, Wales, Spain, Denmark, Romania, the Czech Republic, Brazil, England, Canada, Italy, and Slovenia, among others, though Ghana probably has the coolest tradition of all. Why is that? Because starting in 2007, February 14th has been known as National Chocolate Day in Ghana in order to promote the consumption of chocolate. 42. Jewelry is also a pretty popular, and pricey, Valentine's Day gift. In a report from the National Retail Federation, Americans spent a whopping $4.1 billion on jewelry for their special someone for Valentine's Day 2021. How many roses do you think you could buy with that? 43. Some people who aren't celebrating are still celebrating. Over a quarter of people who say they aren't celebrating Valentine's Day still plan to do something special, whether that's treating themselves, family, or a friend to a little token of appreciation, according to the National Retail Federation. 44. There is a city in Texas with a perfect name for the holiday. If you're looking for a place in the United States with the most holiday spirit, don't expect to find it in any big city. In fact, the most love-struck town of all is none other than Valentine, Texas, which gets its name from the popular saint. Don't drive through it too quickly though, or you might miss it. The town only has a population of 73, according to 2020 numbers. 45. There's more to wearing the color red than you might think. The color red has connotations of passion and sexuality, and it turns out science can actually back up those ideas. At the University of Rochester, psychologists found that men found women wearing red or standing in front of a red background to be significantly more attractive and sexually desirable than women wearing different colors. And it's not just women who are more attractive in red. The study found that women also had the same views of men who were sporting the color. 46. Spotify revealed the most added song to love-themed playlists. According to the music streaming platform, All of Me by John Legend is the most added song in love-themed playlists. It's also the top song choice on Spotify playlists called Valentine's Day, for both men and women. Streams of the track, which was released in 2013, have spiked by at least 50% on Valentine's Day every year since. 47. X's and Os didn't always mean kisses and hugs. It's believed that signing with an X comes from the Middle Ages, when an X was used in the place of a signature because many people couldn't read or write. It also was a Christian symbol that represented the cross, and the idea is that the history of Christians kissing statues of Christ or kissing the Bible led to X getting its meaning as a modern-day kiss. 48. People send thousands of Valentines each year to this fictional character. Every year on Valentine's Day, the city of Verona in Italy receives thousands of letters addressed to Juliet from Romeo and Juliet. Volunteers respond to each letter and award the Cara Giulietta, Dear Juliet, prize to the author of the most romantic letter. 49. A very important patent was applied for on February 14. On Valentine's Day in 1876, a then 29-year-old Alexander Graham Bell applied for his telephone patent, entitled An Improvement in Telegraphy. That same day, inventor Elisha Gray applied for a patent caveat for a similar invention from the same office, but Bell ended up receiving patent approval less than a month later. 50. A very important invention was also introduced on Valentine's Day. A little over 50 years later, on February 14, 1929, penicillin was introduced by a young bacteriologist named Sir Alexander Fleming, who discovered the mold byproduct accidentally a few months earlier. I hope you've enjoyed this list of strange facts about Valentine's Day.